painting a golf cart on a super low budget, it's coming up. Don't look over there. Don't look at that. You would wait for this to dry. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Anton, a power engineer, industrial mechanic, and a Red Seal electrician. We cover all kinds of products and topics in an approachable way for the average everyday person. I'm glad you found us. Hey guys, welcome back to our series rebuilding this 2007 Club Car Presidente. It is currently clad in ugly, deep, dark forest green, and that just won't do for me. But if you like green, go ahead and like green. Many people want an inexpensive way to kind of make their golf cart stand out, and that's what we're looking to do in this series. Now, just to catch you guys up, we've already put rims on the cart. We've already done functional upgrades like performance tuning and a lithium battery upgrade, and now it's time to make it look even better. Now, before we can do all of the visual mods, the next step is obviously painting. And you probably wondered, well, can I do this easier? Can I do this? Like, I'm kind of lazy. I know I'm not gonna do that. Well, you came to the right place because we are the king of doing things the easy way. And that's what we're gonna walk you through today. Now, I want you to get a good look at what you're dealing with here. This is, like I said, just a standard golf cart. Now, you're gonna think that the best way to do this is to mask everything off and just spray it in place. But the actual fact is the body on this golf cart removes very, very easily. So we're gonna actually pull the body off of this. We're gonna do some light prep, like removing stickers and stuff, because you don't want to paint over the stickers. But overall, we're not going to do a whole lot of prep work to this. We're simply going to remove the body and spray it. So I'm going to remove it real quick, and then I'll show you guys what we did to remove it if it wasn't clear from the time lapse. So there we have it. The body is off. You can see what a bodiless Presidente golf cart looks like now. Actually doesn't look too bad. Maybe someone would go for like the Mad Max look. But we start to see our first look at what the body looks like when it's off. I mean, it's pretty flimsy, but it's very easy to paint when you don't have to mask anything. So that's the front, and then this is the back. Now I'll show you guys what we did here. So for the back, there was a screw right here, one right there, and one right there. Just 4 screws hold the back on. We did have to remove the forward reverse switch, and it's the exact same bit that we used for these front screws, as well as the screws that were holding this trim piece on here. So the front, as you saw, just has 4 screws, just one there, one there, one there, and one there. You pull this front trim piece off, and then it releases the body from the front of the cart. So now we move into the prep phase. So what I'm going to do is actually put the rest of the cart away, because I'm not going to need any more of the cart here for the prep and painting phase. One thing I do want to point out, this one has these like body cladding pieces on here. Not all of them have this, but I did have to undo the bolt here and the one up under the seat here, just to give this enough room to lift up for the body to release. There were no clips in the back. It simply just lifts up a little bit and then comes out and it slides right off. Now, somebody who is like super anal could probably use a pressure washer or something and clean this all off before they put it back together, if that mattered to you. But for the paint job itself, that's not going to be required. So we're going to put the seat back on. I'm going to reattach the forward reverse switch so that I can drive this thing, put it back in the garage, and then we can get started on prepping that body. Now the next step for this could have easily been the first step, but it's to remove any decals that you don't want left on the cart. Now this one came from a golf course called Eagle Ranch, and I don't really care. So this one, I happen to know they peel off pretty easily. So really, just like that. Now this is kind of a thick, kind of rubbery one, and most of the ones on the front here are going to be like that. This is pretty smooth now, but on the corners here, there's some residue that we want to clean off before we paint. The harder ones are these guys here. Now these ones can be peeled off. Sometimes you're going to find it's better to use a hair dryer or a heat gun to heat it up and peel it, but I'm going to try and just take it off with a razor blade, just because I've had some pretty good luck with that. So we're going to try that. The sticker on on the back is pretty much exactly the same as well, just so you guys know. So whatever we do to the front one, we're gonna do the same to the back one. So the sticker is off. There's some sticky goop on here now, so we got to get that off now, and that's where product like this comes in. Now this is called Goo Gone. There's another product called Goof Off. They both work equally as well, but all we're going to do is just get that nice and wet. We'll get this one nice and wet as well, like that. Then we'll come over to this one and spray that. You want to let it sit for a minute so that it can start to soften up the glue. And then we're just going to take a cloth and wipe that off. Now I'm not worried about scratching it because we're going to be painting this, but if you were trying to take these off and not paint it, you might want to use a plastic razor blade instead, because it won't scratch the plastic finish on here. But also you want to use the razor blade at a really steep angle, like what you saw me do. And I'll just kind of show you guys again. So it was really just kind of like this, nice and light. You're not trying to, you know, take it all in one shot. And this will help take the glue off as well. You can see it's just catching on any of the surface junk without gouging the body. If you go too steep, it will gouge the body, and then that's going to be a problem because your paint job is not going to be as good. Now again, this is not the professional paint job. This is just the make it look good from 10 feet away job. So now we've wiped this off and there's still a little bit of goop there. This is going to use more razor blading to get this off because I don't want any edges here that this can get caught on. You can see I can scrape that with my fingernail, so it's not good enough yet. So we'll spray it again, let it sit for a minute, and then we're just going to use that razor blade again. And there you have it. Our sticker goop is all off. It doesn't look the best, but it is off. That one's off there as well. You can see I do have little micro scratches in there, which is not a big deal because we're going to paint this. So next what we got to do is prep for paint. As you can see, it's kind of dirty. So what I've got here is a spray bottle. Now this doesn't actually have Windex in it. What I did was filled this with isopropyl alcohol, and you want to use alcohol or mineral spirits or something so that it doesn't leave any residue. But we're just going to spray this thing down and wipe the whole thing with a clean cloth so that it's ready for paint. And that is our buffed, clean, ready body, and that is the other body. Now you did see that I took this brush out and scrubbed this. That's because there was some stubborn dirt here that just didn't want to come out. It still doesn't really want to come out. You can see I can't really even scrape it with my fingernails very well. So we're going to paint right over top of it. And that's okay because this is not the professional job. So remember, you saw the other YouTubers who are like, you got to fill the body panels, you got to sand, you got to scuff, you got to do all that stuff. I'm not doing any of that. This is all the prep work we're going to do. Now I am going to lay these out on some cardboard so that I don't spray my driveway, but it's supposed to rain today, so we're going to come back tomorrow and finish this off. So I'm going to leave you guys here. But this is a great time for you guys to post in the comments and let me know any questions you have about anything that you've seen so far. Mostly, you're going to be saying, I don't believe this is going to hold up. That's going to look like crap and all of those things because all those other guys say that you need to spend hours and hours and hours. We have spent less than 1 hour getting to this stage right here, and if you weren't filming a video, you could get to this step right now in 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So this is going to be easily done in an afternoon with a couple friends and a couple cold beverages. But how's it going to look? Stay tuned.
The next day.
And just like that, it is the next day. Now we've moved into the garage just because we can't control the weather, and I want to make sure that we're able to provide a long drying time in between coats. So we've moved into the garage. Now I'll show you kind of how we've set this up. And this is really it. Now we had some extra boxes left over from our big wheel conversion. So we've got 14-inch rims on this at factory ride height in the front and 1-inch lift in the rear. If you want to know how we did that, we go over it in detail in a different video as we do part of the golf cart build. But You didn't come here for rims, you came here for painting. So we've just kind of set the body panels up on boxes so that we can paint. Now, because it's been a day in between, we have wiped these down with our 99% isopropyl solution and a clean rag so that there's no dust on here. One thing that you will want to keep in mind, if you can, sweep the garage floor first. And if you really want great results, what some people will do is actually wet the floor. So if you spray it down with some water, you can get all the dust off, and then that'll keep the dust under control. We're not doing that professional of a job, as you can tell from our body scuffs and all of that. But a lot of this is going to fill in with our paint job, so I'm not too worried about it. So it is time to move on to the paint. And this is the paint that we're going to use right here. This is Tremclad Rust Paint. We had this from a different project that we had. So we've got 4 cans of this stuff. It is gloss medium blue. This is a 1-stage paint. So we're not going to do any priming on the body of this cart. Now some people may say, well, Anton, you need to prime the body to get good paint adherence. And that may be true, but this is not the paint job that we're doing for good paint adherence. This stuff will stick just fine. Just fine. Just fine. Don't look over there. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. This is a 1-stage paint, so we're not going to do any priming on the body of this cart. Now some people may say, well, Anton, you need to prime the body to get good paint adherence. And that may be true, but this is not the paint job that we're doing for good paint adherence. This stuff will stick just fine. On the instructions here, which I don't know if you'll be able to read, it says, no primer needed for most applications. Any spray texture allows you to spray in any direction, even upside down, blah, 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 blah. So, a trick about painting. You are going to need to do at least 3 coats of paint. Your first coat is going to be very, very light. If you have the entire body covered with the new color on your first coat of paint, you've gone way too thick. The trick to making this stick and the trick to making it last, especially without flaking off of here, is to do a very light coat, let it dry for 30 minutes or so, then do your next coat. So we're going to lay down our first coat right now. Now let me give you a quick shot of what our first coat looks like so you can see kind of what our coverage looks like. Now you're going to see like stuff like this. This is where it maybe wasn't as clean as we hoped that it would. If you look at it, it's not building up quite right on there. If you wanted really good results, you would wait for this to dry, sand that down a little bit. You don't got to go all the way back to the body, but you just want to knock the high edges off and then paint your second coat. I'm going to continue going with this like this because I think it's going to look just fine. But you can get an idea of what the first coat looks like. This is just our skim coat that replaces the primer. So here you can see similar results on here. This is maybe where I wasn't quite as diligent with the prep as I maybe should have been. You can see I've got a little too much paint up here because I was trying to get the edges and everything really well so that I could get onto the next coat. But this one's actually maybe a little bit too much paint on the first pass. But what can you do? This is our first pass. This is what it is. So now we got to just let this sit for a bit and get nice and tacky. It doesn't need to be dry, but you want it to be tacky. So we're going to go away and then we'll come back for the next coat. One thing you do want to be mindful of is making sure that that paint can is shaken up really, really well. We started to experience a little bit of drippage coming out of the nozzle, and that was because it wasn't mixed as well as we would have liked. So just stop, give it a shake. It's a good idea to shake it in between spraying. And when you are spraying, it's a nice, even, smooth spray pattern. You've seen videos of people spray painting. If you're not sure if this is your first time spray painting, maybe try it on a piece of cardboard or something and just try and focus on being smooth and consistent. But with a little bit of practice, you'll get there. Now let's move on to all of the rest of the coats. Now, for no particular reason, I've decided it might be a good idea to do a scuff on this and then re-clean it. Hey, what are you Hey, don't look over there. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. If you wanted really good results, you would wait for this to dry, sand that down. So as you can see, it really didn't work out that good. So lucky for me, I actually have a couple of these things. I was able to take the body off a different one because the one that you saw over there, it's gonna need some work. It's gonna need a lot of sanding, a lot of filling, and a lot of work now. So we're hoping to avoid that this time. And what we've done is got some of these. These are just Scotch-Brite pads. I will put a link in the description for these. And all we did was go over the whole thing lightly, just enough to put a little bit of a scuff on it. You can see it's not like super shiny anymore. And that's okay because the paint will smooth that all out. This was also a good time to look for imperfections in the body and scrub those down a bit. Over here is a good example. There's a scuff on the body here, which I was able to sand down, and then it'll mostly disappear with the paint job. But now I've scuffed the whole thing. I've wiped it down with the isopropyl alcohol, and now I am going to use a primer as well. So I'm going to do a very, very light primer coat, and I've got just this Rust Killer gray primer, and I'm just going to do a very light coat because that's going to tell me if I'm going to have the same problem that I already had. So I'm going to do that now. Now the proof is in the pudding, so I'm going to show you guys what we're looking at here. This is just a light dusting on here, just enough to get a good coat. Now in a couple spots where I went a little thick, like right here, you can see that is bubbling up a little bit, just like I had on the other one. So I'm going to let this dry completely overnight. It's a thin coat, but I'm going to let it dry 100% overnight. Then I'm going to use the same Scotch pad and just lightly buff this up a bit, clean it, and then spray again, and then it'll be a nice, smooth, even finish on that one spot. The rest of this one looks okay, and if I look over here at this guy, this one's looking pretty good, except a couple spots. I'm going to show you right here where I got a little aggressive, really kind of bubbly. Same with up over here, little bits of bubbles back there. The one spot that will be visible is right there, right on that front edge. I don't know if you can see it with the way the light is on here. If I go like that, hopefully that helps. So same deal, and I'll let that dry completely. I'm gonna clean my hands so I'm not painting with oily, greasy hands. And we're just gonna buff that up with that Scotch-Brite pad and then spray it with some more primer. And then we'll be ready to move on to the actual color coat as well. So that's all happening tomorrow for me, but it's going to be in a camera blip for you guys.
The next day.
Now I know you guys are all wondering, what the heck has he done? So let me catch you up to speed. So we've scuff sanded the whole thing using our Scotch-Brite pads. We did a wipe down, just like you already saw, with the isopropyl alcohol. Then we did a number of light coats using some primer. It's important to do light coats. First coat, super light. Next coat, a little bit heavier, and then we just let that dry. We let it bake for at least 24 hours. Then we went over the whole thing again with a light sanding using our Scotch-Brite pads again, which got us ready for the first coat of paint. Now, as we're watching the time lapse, you'll see I started outside. That's because it's sunny and it's warm outside, and inside the garage here it's cold. But what happened was the wind picked up. So I was having a hard time getting a consistent, even flow of paint onto the surface. So I decided we'd sacrifice temperature for a little bit better controlled environment. So indoor painting was definitely the key here. So now we can look at the product itself so far. Now this one has 2 coats of paint currently. They're light coats, they've dried in between, and then this guy is still waiting to dry for the second coat to go on. So what I wanted to show you guys here is the spottiness of it. Do you see how spotty that is? If you have full coverage, you've gone way too far. So we can still see our primer poking through here, which is okay. Our next coat, we're gonna get a lot better coverage, but it's also gonna be a light coat. Now, one thing that you can do, you can see lines here, because that's the way that I sprayed this, like this. So our next coat, we're gonna go across like this to try and fill in those lines the best we can. We're not going for 100% coverage yet, even on the next coat, because we just want to get the paint down in a thin coat that can dry. Coming back to this one, you can see there's still some lines in there. I don't know how well you guys can see, but I can see them. And that's because we have not gone full coverage even on this one. So what we want to do is let all of these coats dry, and then we're going to do the final coat. Now the final coat's actually going to be our thickest coat, and that's because we want it to smooth itself out and create a nice, shiny, consistent, even finish. So it's okay that we've got lines in this one because it's not the final coat yet. So the last coat that we do, we're gonna do it so that we get a nice, fine, even finish on there. So that's what we're doing next, and then I'll show you guys the finished product.
One eternity later.
And there it is. So in the shade of the garage, it looks pretty good. So now it's time to take it outside and see if it still looks as good as it does in here, and ultimately put it back on the golf cart to see what that looks like. Just like that, the cart is reassembled and looking beautiful. Now, this was one step of a multi-step plan to make this golf cart look really, really awesome. You don't have to do all the steps that we've done, but if you're looking to paint your golf cart, this is about the easiest way that you're going to be able to do it. One thing to keep in mind is that this is what I'm going to call a 5-foot paint job. That means from 5 feet away, it looks pretty awesome. If you were to get up super close and hyper scrutinize it, you would see that we didn't spend as much time prepping the body. We didn't fill the scuffs and the scratches and all that. They're still there. Now, you can certainly do that if that's your thing, but I would rather enjoy it from 5 feet away, which is as close as anyone's going to get. Anyone who's closer than 5 feet is probably your friend, and your friends shouldn't be complaining about the work that you did. Otherwise, they're not very good friends. Now, I will invite you guys to check the rest of the build on this golf cart because we have a ton more mods that we're doing to it, which are all on this channel. You've probably already seen them being advertised on the side, so why don't you go ahead and click those and check them out too. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.